Howard Elementary has a very unique and long history. Howard Elementary originally sat where Lions Club Park is. The school opened in 1884 and it was named after Blake C. Howard. Blake C. Howard worked for the Union Pacific Railroad and worked very hard to make sure that Grand Island had adequate schools when the town was starting out. Therefore, one building was named after him. In 1951, the school district decided to build a new school to replace Howard, as the building was getting really old. Walnut Middle School was where Howard is today, so the plan was to move Walnut to a new building, and their old building would be added onto and converted to an elementary. This is where Howard is today. The current building was opened in 1954 when kids from the old school packed up their desks on one February day and walked from the old building to the new building in a parade. The new building was one of the most innovative buildings in the country at that time, as every room had lots of windows, bathrooms, sinks, and drinking fountains. Since the school opened, there have been many auditions. In 1957, the old Walnut building was torn down and the east wing was built. The only part of that building that still stands is its gymnasium, which today is the music room. In 1981, the library and rooms on the south side of the north hallway were added on. In 1993, the new gym was built and the office was moved to where it is today. Before this, the office was where the kitchen is today. In 2004, the south classrooms on the south hallway were added on. In 2011, the kindergarten building was built. Howard has always and will continue to change and try new things that make it stand out. Listen to some of these current and former teachers tell you about how Howard has changed in their time at Howard.
I'll just read.
Well, you've got all that electronic equipment, and we didn't have that at home. Especially when I started. We thought we were doing real well if we had a computer in each room. Much like the individualism. So.
I've seen lots of changes. Technology changes so much that this is the first year you're one-to-one. We had Apple computers when I first appeared. It was only in the lab, and then they had a few computers for each classroom, and now fifth grade have one-to-one, can take them home. So just the amount of technology and how students use it. It used to be just primarily for teachers to use, but now kids are expected to use technology more.
Well, I'm sure once in a while you have private conversations in your office that are less than pleasant.
Correct, yes.
And some of you are grinning, you know what I mean by that.
Today.
You have some today?
Yeah, I have some today already.
Okay. Oh, I loved it. I wouldn't have quit as soon as I did, but my husband's health was poor, and so I thought it was probably time. But, oh yeah, I love it. Now, not every day was pleasant. We had some of those unpleasant conversations. And I didn't just exactly think that was great fun. But the job overall, I liked. Oh, I don't know. I guess it was just in the fall you'd get your materials and your people and everything together, and it was kind of like getting a train ready to go down the track. And that was what we did.
Part is watching students grow, whether it's maybe socially or maybe it's in responsibility or even in the learning, because the kids make steps and learn new things and prepare for the next step to the next level, and wanting them, all kids, to see that even, that high school graduation is a responsibility you need to complete, and that's just how life is, and don't think that you're going to stop when you quit or junior. You need to set those goals and graduate. So I just want to help be a part of that process for kids to be successful and watching them grow and learn.
Well, then they shouldn't even consider stopping before graduation.
Yeah, it's not an option. You just graduate.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Well, there's a greater mix of ethnic things. I think especially little kids, kindergartners, so on, come into school knowing more than they used to. Don't you think, yeah? And they also, I remember when I first started teaching, you always had kids that cried the first day, kindergartners. That rarely happens anymore because they've been in daycare and they've been here and they've been there. So that has changed a lot.
I would say that we're expecting students to know more and more. For example, now maybe fifth graders are expected to maybe know some sixth grade math concepts that we're pushing to become more rigorous. So we're expecting students to know more and more at younger ages.
Oh, I think so.
And really, just getting into the way we're asking students to be thinkers and not just absorbers or sponges of knowledge, but we want you to be able to think through and process and a lot of teamwork and be innovative, because the job that you may get after you graduate high school and college may not exist yet. For example, at one time there was no Google and there was no YouTube. Well, somebody had to create those. Somebody needs to create new things, and you guys could be on some of those cutting edge things. So we need you to be thinking and be able to create new things and be able to adapt to any job that would be available when you graduate.
And anybody who has an interest in medicine, that field is wide open for research.
Right.
There are still way too many causes out there, cancer and heart disease and all that sort of thing. Okay, okay. And you see, when I came, there were no rooms on the across the hall. And when they built this building, they built it with planters along there. And that gradually disappeared. They also put coat racks out there. And one of the features that they talked about were the mitten dryers. I don't know if we ever used them, but they talked about that, yes. Well, when I was here, we had what we call three wings, the east wing. This was the south wing, and over yonder was the north wing. And the May dance was in between on the grass. So then they added onto those wings. But Howard has always been overcrowded. Now, it doesn't look to me like you're overcrowded right now, at least in here. But it seemed to me that we were overcrowded all the time.
What did their desks look like? Right now they're at tables. What did they have, desks, or what did they sit at when you were here? Do you remember what those looked like?
And they had individual desks, which had a shelf in there that they could put their things in. What makes a good teacher? Well, I taught worked with teachers long enough to know that there's no one personality that does it. Some people can be quite enthusiastic and that sort of thing, and other pretty soft-spoken and so on. And they all got along well. But I think it's understanding how kids learn.
I think it starts with the basis of being able to create a relationship with your students. and teachers who can relate to kids and create relationships. And you don't have to like each other, but that mutual respect and be able to